the council members take your seat. All the council members take your seat. We're going to get started. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin.
Here.
Bishop. Conwell. Gray. Hairston. Harsh. House Jones. Jones. Casey. Kelly. Moorer. McCormack. Palencic. Santana. Slife. Spencer. Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll begin today's meeting by making the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting. Under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember McCormack, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Thank you. We'll now move to public comment. I'll ask all council members to acknowledge the speakers that are at the podium, and I want to make sure I remind all of the speakers that you have 3 minutes. When you see the yellow light, that means to start to wrap it up. When you see the red light, that means you are past your time. First, we have Dennis Kucinich from Washington, D.C., talking about the rezoning at Madison Avenue and West Boulevard. He is not representing anyone, and he is not being paid by anyone. Is Dennis Kucinich here? Dennis Kucinich. Is Dennis Kucinich here? I do not see Dennis Kucinich. We do not see Dennis Kucinich. Therefore, we'll move to the next person. The next person is Dallas Ekman, Cam's Corner, to talk about crime and punishment in Cleveland. He is not representing anyone. He is not being paid by anyone. Dallas, you have the floor.
Defense Committee. Many of you will recognize my name or my face from my work with the Palestinian community advocating for ceasefire resolution here at City Council. But I'm here today on behalf of the fraudulent allegations and charges which have been levied by this city's police department against Chairman Fahim. However, I feel inspired to speak today exactly because of my work alongside the Palestinian community for the ceasefire resolution. During that time, I was active in countless protests. I helped lead caravans. I helped be a part of multiple council disruptions here at City Hall. I was in the streets for countless protests, which included shutting down bridges, streets, and even in front of some of the most important economic centers like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I mention these things not to brag or for council to evaluate my decisions, but rather to say that in that movement work and other movements that I have been a part of in the past, I have never once experienced the level of retaliation and police harassment that I did the very first time that we worked alongside New Era on a Juneteenth event. I worked with New Era to help distribute toys and food to the community in downtown Cleveland. This has remained one of the most important tenets of the chairman's organizing. If we are in the streets, we are giving back to the community. So on Juneteenth, we provided toys, books, hot meals to the people of this very city, a demand routinely thrown at us by council people who criticized us here and in backdoor conversations for caring about a foreign issue. So what happened when we, including many Palestinian organizers, did join New Era to directly provide resources to this community? Multiple march participants, including myself, were ticketed and cited for nearly every action in that demonstration, even going so far as to cite a black woman for playing music, tow her vehicle, and charge multiple thousands of dollars worth of damage. I remind you, that was on Juneteenth. The police cited for handing out food and toys to children. We were cited by the police, and I know that this was an act of simple intimidation because the police officers didn't show up to any of the hearings that they cited us for. They clearly passed out these citations down solely to intimidate allies from working with Fahim. And this motivation becomes clear when, on record, Dorothy Todd called the Job Corps, who marched with us that day at the protest, and told them that they should avoid New Era and that it wasn't an organization they should associate with. Since when is it the job of the safety director to give warnings to organizations and private citizens about who they should associate with? That is the behavior of the mafia and the mob, not in an institution that is supposedly telling people to serve and protect. These charges against Chairman Fahim that have been falsely alleged this last month fall into a pattern of this harassing behavior where your police department has insisted on intimidation. It can only be interpreted to me as retaliation for the successful civil suit 2 years ago against the city for his wrongful arrest. You need to get your police department in check before they create a problem of a magnitude this body is incapable of addressing. Help drop the ludicrous charges. Free Fahim.
Next we have Brenda Bickerstaff. Brenda Bickerstaff is from Ward 9, here to talk about groundhogs. She's not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Ms. Bickerstaff, you have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Hello, council. How y'all doing? So good to see you. But you know what? Today I want to talk about these groundhogs, Kevin. You, the councilman in my ward. And I'm going to say this to his defense. We have a problem through the whole county. It's not just in Cleveland. But we need some help, seriously. I've talked to the law department. Mr. Griffin, they've given me, traps to catch them. And I've caught some, and guess what? I looked today. One done coming from the other side. I concrete sides of my house so he can't get in. He done went under there and started digging. I'm gonna have to pull the labs out again and smooth that over. I've spent thousands of dollars on these groundhogs because when the people come out to trap, those traps are not cheap. Okay, they cost like almost $1,000, so they trap them like for 2 or 3 days. They come back and check. So please, because I do not want them to mess up the foundation. My mom left the house to my son as heir property when she passed on. And we really need help with these groundhogs. And I know it's not just in Cleveland, it's all over, but please help us with these groundhogs. I mean, it's a nuisance, it's a problem. Now, I don't want to get no BB gun, Kevin, and be handcuffed and start shooting them now, because then you had to come and get me out of jail. And okay, and then they say we can't poison them. They say you can't poison them. Okay, one time I had a groundhog that I caught that they gave me a cage for, and they told me because I didn't call the right time, I would get a ticket. So I put them in my car and took them out there and left them in Solon. Then they say, why you bringing them out here? You know what I'm saying? So help us out with these groundhogs. We want to save our properties. We don't want our properties to go bad. Help us with these groundhogs. These properties are heir properties that people have paid for and they've left to their grandkids. And my son is getting frustrated with these groundhogs. He wants to shoot them, and I told him, you can't do that. So help us out, please, with these groundhogs. Please help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Daryl Houston. Daryl Houston is not listed in what ward, but he's here to talk about mismanagement of public funds. He's representing himself, and he's not being paid by anyone. Mr. Houston, you have the floor.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you guys for being here. It looked like you guys had a good vacation. You all guys look bright-eyed and eager to do your jobs. One of the things I would like to point out is I took the liberty of myself bringing some copies for all the city councilmen to look at the poll conditions within the city, and also took the liberty to pulling up you guys' own rules and regulations when it comes to committees and utilities. And in there I see that you guys are supposed to maintain the prices, maintain the maintenance on them. You guys are the overseers of all that, right? So I took it upon myself to go back 6 years to see what type of work was being done by my city council when it comes to utilities in the city. What we have right now is a failing utility companies. They're not trimming any trees back. They're not doing their polls. As you can see, if you look at those papers, one of the papers are stated that poll has been there for 90 days, okay? I sent it to the media. I sent it to your safety director, and I'm bringing it to you guys, and I'm asking for you guys to address what's important in this community. You guys are getting paid to do this job. These are the rules. Just like I'm standing here and I have 3 minutes, well, these are the rules that you guys are abided by. You have to do this. This is something that you can't turn your eye on. This is for everyone in this community, including yourselves. What we experienced with that big storm, we shouldn't have experienced that, okay? That was unacceptable. The storm helped what the polls were already ready to do. That's because they're not being taken care of. They're not properly being maintenance regularly, okay? We have to do these things regularly. If we want our community to survive and thrive, then we have to all do our parts in our community. We can't sit back as taxpayers and keep allowing you guys who chose to be in these positions, right? You chose to represent this community. Represent the community on all levels of the community, not just certain things in the community. Represent everything, because this is a community. We're all in the same community. All of you guys we all in the same community. We all drove down here and took the same streets. How can we not get this together as a unit? Okay? We have to do better than this. And I'm here to hold you guys accountable on it, because it's the law and it's the rules. And if you don't abide by the law and the rules, there's penalties for those things for you guys, not the taxpayers, for you guys, because that falls up under dereliction of duty, false campaign promises, and everything else. And I'm mainly vocalizing this at the older council members. The newer council members are not familiar with what you guys are familiar with. Let's get on the same team. Let's play for the same field. I believe every city councilman in here should have a council office in every ward that's open from 8 to 5, actually addressing real issues, instead of sitting here and not addressing anything. Technically, you're not addressing anything right now. This whole system is failing everybody in this room, including you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Asia George Huff. Asia George Huff is from the Buckeye community. She's here to talk about crime in Cleveland. She's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Asia George Huff.
Good evening. I want to talk about something really important to me. Growing up, I had to deal with things no kid should ever have to face: racism and gun violence. These aren't just words I heard on TV or on the news. They're on my life. Well, no. I'm tired of, because to me right now, I was my own victim of gun violence. I got shot. I got shot one day. The cops don't care. They don't care about us. Man, I wish y'all care, because I don't want to go to school. I want to feel safe, because they pressed false charges on Fahim. All he was trying to do was protect his community. That's all he was trying to do. Y'all press false charges on. He helped me find out who I was. He helped me find my purpose in life. And y'all just treat him like that for no reason. No reason. at all. And I don't know why y'all do this, but yeah, that's what they do. They don't care. They don't care. Y'all might sit around there, you might end this time, when the time go off, y'all might go about their day, but somebody gotta say it. I'm speaking for people who have no voice. I'm speaking for people who's not able to be in this right opportunity. We need to get teens out of the streets. We need to get them in schools, because a gun not gonna take them nowhere. A book and a pencil is gonna take them. They need education. Guns don't solve our problems. We need people like y'all to represent. You gotta represent the city in a good way. Because again, I don't wish I had to live in a world with its violence and I'm hated for it just because of my own skin color. I wish this world was just love, just all love, but no, I have to deal with it. And so I have to say, I hope one day we gonna change. That's it.
Thank you.
Out.
Next up, we have Diab Dar Issa. Diab Dar Issa from Ward 11, better use for lot where former CVS sits, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
Hello and good evening, council people, my fellow advocates. Hopefully everyone had a relaxing and enjoyable summer. My name is Diab Dar Issa. I am a Ward 11 resident. Danny Kelly is my councilman, and I'm here for a very important cause. Back in June, I voiced my support for Cudell Park and how we had to ensure we honored the history and legacy of that park. Well, today I'm also highlighting an adjacent parcel of land that desperately needs our help. The piece of land in question is the former CVS site, which is currently enthralled in the middle of a dispute with surrounding pedestrian overlay district, or I'm sorry, it's violating the surrounding pedestrian overlay district in terms of how they plan to utilize the land, and how the neighborhood is zoned impacts what the owners plan to do with it. They want to make the area a gas station. I'm here to stress that this is definitely not the highest and best use, and that there are other practical options for us to explore. Furthermore, I want this to set a precedent because brick and mortar businesses have been in trouble for quite some time. This isn't the first, and this won't be the last former big box drugstore that will shutter. And the surrounding community will need to find a way to grapple with this and learn how we can utilize the space going forward. As a Ward 11 resident, I know that my voice carries weight. I'm right on West 98th Street. I'm proud of the history of my neighborhood, a neighborhood that preceded the car and the wide adaptation of the family automobile. These neighborhoods are literally built for people, not cars. And while, yes, I do acknowledge the irony as I drove myself here in my car, two things can be true at once, where I can also acknowledge, hold on, I lost my spot, where I can also acknowledge that the neighborhood was built for walkability, mass transit, people, and community. A gas station, simply put, does not coincide with the history nor the street grid pattern in this neighborhood. Not only will it stick out like a sore thumb, but it will put our children and those who walk, bike, roll, and play in the surrounding area in danger. I implore the city of Cleveland to use this as an opportunity for us to return to form, where we can take this parcel of land and imagine something that will not just fill the space because it's shiny and new and gives us temporary tax incentives, but give back to the local community, something that benefits all members of the neighborhood, not just those of us who have cars in our driveways. Thank you so much. That's my time.
Next, we have Andrew Carpenter. Andrew Carpenter is from Buckeye Road. He's here to talk about policing in Cleveland, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
All right. Hi, I'm Andrew Carpenter. I'm 15, and I haven't really been on my right mindset before I joined this camp. and my life been very difficult. See, I came from a family where it's been hard. It's been so many of us, and I've been having to do everything, even though I was the second oldest, but I had to act like I was the man of the house because my dad was hardly there, and my mom, well, stepmom, going through a whole bunch of things. And it was really painful for me because I had to go through so much, and it was pretty much going through it on alone. And now, since I'm away from them, and now I got my mom and other mom also. And you see, now I'm trying to live a better life. Still trying to get everything out, still trying to go through school, but it's hard when you gotta go through people trying to kill each other. And I can't even be a kid. But now, since I joined this camp, I actually feel like I have a life. And so now all my brothers and sisters like Micaiah and Chairman, he been a whole father figure to me. And Raymir, they both been my like brothers and fathers to me, and it's not like I had any like that before, because my dad will always just be weird. So I'm actually glad that I got them, and it's just crazy how y'all trying to press charges on him for something y'all know he didn't do. And y'all see he's out here every day working his butt off trying to make sure this community is straight. So I ain't even really gonna just be all out because composing myself. But honestly, I just want y'all to get y'all self together. Cause like, I know I'm a kid, I can't really be talking to adults like this, but I need y'all to get y'all stuff together. Y'all can't just be out here, be trying to point fingers like, oh yeah, he did this, but y'all see every day how we working our butts off trying to make sure this community's straight. So it's just painful. So trying to see like pretty much my dad go through all this, and I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, since I'm a kid, I can't really do nothing. Nah, us kids, we got something to say about it. We got power. So y'all better up y'all game. Cause me and Micaiah, we got something to say about it. But I don't really know what else to say, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Next up, we have Marianne Nassar. Marianne Nassar is from Gordon Square, here to talk about Cleveland policing, representing not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone.
Good evening, council members, council president, and Mayor Bibb. My name is Mariam Assar. I live in Ward 15, and I'm the attorney representing Antoine Tolbert, known as Chairman Fahim, in the criminal case before the county, which I'm sure you have heard of already. I've signed up to speak with you tonight because I believe each and every single one of you, as elected public leaders who endeavor to protect this city and aid in the flourishing of all Cleveland communities, have a vested interest in his freedom, so that Mr. Tolbert continues his impactful work with the youth in the community, and that New Era continues to conduct safety patrols and engagement walks in high-crime neighborhoods where the police continuously struggle to respond in time. Here is some context. There has been a troubling increase in youth violence and child slayings right here in Cleveland. According to the data, the homicide of teens has increased more than 60% over the past decade. According to the city's own 2023 report, for the second consecutive year, there was an increase in homicides of young residents. These are kids 0 to 17 years old. 13 homicides in 2022 and 25 in 2023. To that end, on the night of Friday, August 3rd, Mr. Tolbert and New Era were conducting their bi-weekly safety patrol, or community engagement walk, in the Lee Harvard neighborhood, based on the marked increase in violent crime in that area, and common knowledge that after the youth party in the local event center, afterwards they would gather in the Lee Harvard Plaza, completely unsupervised, high or drunk, and packing guns, all markings of a potentially volatile and violent situation that could result in death, young death. That night, New Era was checking in with these youth and de-escalating fights that periodically arose, essentially babysitting them. Afterwards, New Era got into a disagreement over caring about these children with the clerk at a nearby gas station, the details of which I will not go into now, but what ensued afterwards was the completely false allegations made by the owners who were not even there. I could speak to the police's failure to perform their due diligence in investigating these claims, but more alarming is the fact that a councilman appeared to vouch for these owners despite knowing Mr. Tolbert and New Era's work, and that such allegations were clearly self-serving lies. We would hope to learn that this is a misunderstanding. To conclude, this criminal prosecution works against the interests of the very community it should purport to protect, and we remain hopeful that the charges will be dropped once the air is cleared. Thank you.
Next, we have Cameron Damaska. Cameron Damaska is from Cam's Corner. Cameron is here to talk about the police commission. He's not representing anyone. He's not being paid by anyone. Cameron, you have the floor.
I want to start by saying that I hope you all have the humanity to address what has been said today. The charges and arrest against Chairman Fahim of New Era Cleveland are clearly political. The organization called for a picket of a Lee Harvard business at 3 p.m. on August 14th. Fahim was arrested 20 minutes before that picket. There's no doubt that this is politically motivated, and a council person was named on the police report which justified this arrest. New Era has been lauded for their anti-crime work by Mayor Bibb, by Blaine Griffin, and by everyone who's honestly investigated their work, but now their leader is facing many years in prison on false allegations that are politically motivated. The last thing the city needs is to make a political prisoner out of Fahim, and I hope you all understand what that means. I want you all to remember the political arrest of Huey Newton and the subsequent campaign to free him was the spark that led to the Black Panther Party becoming the vanguard party for black liberation politics within the United States. You all need to think critically about what it means to make a political prisoner in the situation and act accordingly. New Era was only in the Lee Harvard shopping district because of the late night car meetups that have been leading to shootouts there. They were present on the scene to do conflict mediation. All of their work gets live streamed to Instagram, has been watched by hundreds of people, including people in this room, and it is clear they played a positive and de-escalatory role. No shootouts have occurred when they are present on the scene. For years, residents have complained about the violence and criminal activity that's happening at this shopping district. The neighborhood is targeted for gentrification. That is not a secret. The police are not responding to complaints that residents have in this neighborhood, and residents have been receiving incessant calls from land speculators asking them to sell their homes. All of this has led to the reasonable conclusion that there's a concerted effort to displace the majority black residents of Lee Harvard and turn the neighborhood into a profitable real estate venture. None of this is hidden. People are aware this is happening. It's not a secret. And all of this is to say nothing of the national implications of this case. New Era Cleveland has been openly calling for a ceasefire in Cleveland and in Palestine. They've been building inroads with the Palestinian community, many of whom are here today, and they have been building and working to build organization to deal with the common violence that both of their communities are being inflicted by. As word gets out about this case, it is going to shift the political landscape in this country. We have an election in November where the issue of Palestine is a key matter, and when this gets out that the pro-Palestinian anti-crime black leader is being falsely charged, it is going to be a massive problem for the Democratic Party establishment. Do you all want Cleveland Democrats to be responsible for this?
Thank you. Next, we have Fauzi Badur. Fauzi Badur is from Ward 11, and he's here to talk about 10022 Madison Avenue. He is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Fauzi, you have the floor.
Good evening, President Griffin, Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. President Griffin, you brought me here tonight for your comment. In response to some email, you said, you asked Danny Kelly if the community support the gas station. He said to you, yes. I'll talk about this, but thank you for making the the support of the community as condition for your support. We had one meeting with Councilman Kelly. Prior to him taking us to the Board of Zoning, we had one meeting attended by about 40 people. Out of the 40 people, 39 opposed the gas station. One person, a woman, supported the gas station. And that woman is like his shadow. She's with him in the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning. They were together, talking to the Channel 5 last week. And I want to say something about that woman, who that woman is. I'm sorry, Mr. Rice, I have to mention it. That woman was the woman who made that frantic call 10 years ago, unneeded, unnecessarily, hateful call to 911 that resulted in the murder of 12-year-old child, Tamir Rice. That's his front. That's his community support. That location is at the southwest corner of Codell Community Park, 10022, where they want to put the gas station, is at the southwest corner of Codell Community Park. Behind it to the east, there is Marion C. Salzer Elementary School and the east side corner of Codell Community Park. And the students come from West 102, West Boulevard, West 103rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. They come through that location to the school. And they want to put gas station to breathe the gas fume. I understand if greedy business owners don't care about kids other than their kids. But to have councilmen batting with a steel bat, worse than the owners themselves, for the gas station. Look, we protect our kids. Our kids are not gay.
Time. Thank you, Ms. Baddour. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 912-2024, oath of office for James Hartley, Interim Director of Department of Finance. File number 913-2024, emergency contract, mayor's emergency for supplemental line work to assist Cleveland Public Power in restoring power throughout the city due to the storm on August 6, 2024. File number 914-2024 from Jeffrey B. Marks, Secretary, Board of Control, City of Cleveland. Board of Control Resolution 37724, adopted August 7, 2024, pursuant to Ordinance 521-2024, concurring with the discontinuance of some divisions and offices in Department of Public Works and the establishment of a new department, Parks and Recreation, and its divisions and offices. File number 915-2024 from Court Administrator Russell R. Brown III, Cleveland Municipal Court, notice of application and acceptance of $7,500 grant for the Municipal Court's Mental Health Court Program from the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services through the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County. File number 916-2024, oath of office for Glenn Parker III, member of Civilian Police Review Board, City of Cleveland. File number 925-2024 from Council President Blaine A. Griffin, designating without objection of Cleveland City Council to serve as Clerk of Council Pro Tem for all matters requiring the clerk's signature on August 23, 2024 and August 26, 2024. File number 926-2024, oath of office for Stephanie Wernett, Chief Innovation and Technology Officer. File number 927-2024, oath of office for Jason R. Shackner, Assistant Director, Department of Public Safety. File number 928, 2024, oath of office for Christopher P. Veland, Assistant Director, Department of Public Safety. File number 932, 2024, from Jessica Sheldon, Vice President, Beacon Communities, notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Empire Senior Housing at 9113 Parmalee Avenue, Ward 9. File number 917, 2024. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 917, 2024, regarding a new license application at 230 West Huron Road, Ward 3. File number 918, 2024, regarding a new license application at 10109 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 9. File number 919, 2024, regarding a new license application at 10412-16 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 11. File number 920, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4171 Ridge Road, Ward 13. File number 921, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 721 Bolivar Road, Ward 3. File number 922, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4951 Ridge Road, Ward 13. File number 923, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 3038 West 117th Street, Ward 16. File number 924, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 2054 Fulton Road, Ward 3. File number 929, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4506 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 3. File number 930, 2024, regarding an economic development transfer application at 3928 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 3. File number 933, 2024, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4475 Lee Road, Ward 1.
Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Griffin for David Edward Morrow, by Councilmember Casey for Philip John Donahue, by Councilmember Starr for Tyrone Howard Sr., by Councilmember Griffin for James Samuel Townsend, by Councilmember Polensek for Master Amir Dwayne Alexander, by Councilmember Bishop for Wendell Phillip Williams, by Councilmember Griffin for David Walcott, by Councilmember Casey for Christopher Henry Hare, by Councilmember Griffin for Virginia Gale Sullivan.
Thank you. Are there any other condolence resolutions? Will all council members rise for a moment of silence?
Council President.
Oh, Councilman Polensek.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, would the clerk please hold out a number for Mr. John Fredo? Thank you.
So noted.
All council members rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. Congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember Griffin for Reverend Fred Carmichael, by Councilmember Griffin for John Hay High School on their 50th reunion, by Councilmember McCormack for St. John the Evangelist Gala, by Councilmember House Jones on Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry and their 55th anniversary, by Councilmember House Jones for Sister Jane Nesmith. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember McCormack for Jesus Valdez, by Councilmember Santana for Hispanic Heritage Month, by Councilmember Griffin for Dr. Edward Barksdale Jr., by Councilmember Moore for Mark A. Stefanski, by Councilmember House Jones for Cleveland Rape Crisis Center, by Councilmember Griffin for Nathaniel Wilkes, by Councilmember Slife for Reverend Robert Farrow Jr.
Thank you. There are no presentations. We'll move to first reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 934, 2024, by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more agreements with the United States Navy or its designee to display 2 bells and any other memorabilia of the United States naval warship, the USS Cleveland, for a period or periods not to exceed a total of 5 years, with one or more options to renew not to exceed a total of 10 years, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 935, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more mutual aid agreements with U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia and the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C., for additional law enforcement services for aid and assistance, and accept reimbursement for such services in connection with the 2025 presidential inaugural being held in Washington, D.C. for January 17, 2025 through January 21, 2025, along with associated events and activities on days before and after the date of the event, or in the alternative to accept reimbursement for services and related expense from the state of Ohio. Ordinance 936, 2024, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Hairston, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to the Apartment 92, the Apollo LLC, to encroach into the public right-of-ways of Riverbed Street and Superior Avenue by installing, using, and maintaining a new entry canopy and egress steel stair landing, an ADA ramp, and a viaduct connector. Ordinance 937, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a contract with PMG Executive Program Management to provide executive airport development programming, financing, planning, design, and related services. Ordinance 938, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin, by departmental request, to provide for the transfer and amendment to the general fund appropriations in the amount of $343,475. Ordinance 939, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more contracts with the International Association of Chiefs of Police to conduct training through a faculty development workshop and to provide mentoring and instruction through leadership and police organization training for the Division of Police, Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 940, 2024, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into one or more contracts with Skidata, Inc. for professional services necessary to provide software, hardware, training, technical support, and maintenance for the parking access and revenue control systems at Willard Park Garage and Gateway East Garage for the Division of Parking Facilities, Department of Public Works, for a period of 3 years. Ordinance 941, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of hazmat suits for the Division of Emergency Medical Service, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 942, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of medical stair chairs for the Division of Emergency Medical Service, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 943, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of patient ventilators for the Division of Emergency Medical Service for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 944, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of labor and materials necessary to remove rubber, and any other contaminants from paved surfaces for the various divisions of the Department of Port Control for a period of 2 years with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Ordinance 945, 2024, by Councilmembers Palencic and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of turnout gear for the Division of Fire, Department of Public Safety for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 956, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to pay monthly fees to ABM Industry Groups, LLC, DBA ABM Parking Services for the use of up to 40 parking spaces in its garage attached to 205 St. Clair for city employees of various departments and council for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance.
First reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 946, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, approving in its entirety the fact-finding report, findings, and recommendations in the matter of the City of Cleveland and Teamsters 507 Public Utilities Supervisors. Ordinance 947, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Moore, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Towpath Marathon on October 5, 2024, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 980, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Spencer, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Cleveland Public Theater for the public purpose of providing the 2023 Adult Education Program through the use of Wards 3 and 15 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 981, 2024, by Councilmembers McCormack and Spencer, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Cleveland Public Theater for the public purpose of providing the 2024 Adult Education Program through the use of Wards 3 and 15 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 982, 2024, by Councilmembers Jones, Bishop, McCormack, Gray, Starr, Griffin, House Jones, Palencic, Conwell, Hairston, Kelly, Moore, Harsh, Santana, Spencer, Casey, and Slife, authorizing Director of Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement with the Hispanic Police Officers Association for the public purpose of providing the Puerto Rican Expo 2024 through the use of Wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 983, 2024, by Councilmember Hairston, authorizing Director of Department of Public Utilities to enter into an agreement with Icons for the public purpose of providing the Icons Transformation Plus program through the use of Ward 10 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 984, 2024, by Councilmembers Jones, McCormack, Gray, Starr, Griffin, House Jones, Palencic, Hairston, Kelly, Moore, Harsh, Santana, Spencer, Casey, Slife, authorizing the issuance of a mobile permit to Salvatore Acevedo of Digital C to engage in mobile vending in Wards 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember McCormack, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. First reading ordinance referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 957, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to amend various sections of Chapter 523 as amended by various ordinances, to repeal Section 523.021, and to enact new Sections 523.0491, 523.066, 067, 523.28, and 29, all relating to rules and rates for electricity charges for the Division of Cleveland Public Power.
First reading, emergency resolutions referred for administrative review and committee review.
Resolution 948, 2024, by Councilmember Conwell, strongly encouraging County Executive Chris Ronayne to implement the Inside Out Dad program in the county jail. Resolution 949, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, requesting the county fiscal officer to make advances during the year 2025 pursuant to Section 324.34 of the Ohio Revised Code. Resolution 950, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by Cuyahoga County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer. Resolution 958, 2024, by Council members Starr, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate the remaining portion of Sherman Court.
First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 951, 2024, by Councilmember Conwell, objecting to the new C1 liquor permit at 10109 St. Clair Avenue. Resolution 952, 2024, by Councilmember Casey, objecting to the transfer of location of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit to 3670 West 130th Street. Resolution 958, 2024, by Councilmember McCormack, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit to 721 Bolivar Road and patio, excluding basement. Resolution 954, 2024, by Councilmember Casey, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a C1, C2 liquor permit to 3038 West 117th Street. Resolution 955, 2024, by Councilmember Casey, withdrawing objection to the renewal of a D5, D6 liquor permit at 12524 Lorraine Avenue, first floor, patio, and basement, and repealing Resolution 867, 2023, objecting to said renewal.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember McCormack, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 633, 2024, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Works to enter into a license agreement with a vendor to install and maintain an automated teller machine terminal located in room 122, Vital Statistics, for the use and convenience of the general public for a period of 1 year with a 1-year option to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Works. Ordinance 718, 2024, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more standard and requirement contracts for the purchase, lease, or lease with option to purchase of various on-road vehicles, apparatus, and off-road equipment, cabs, bodies, and accessories, equipment, and other aftermarket items necessary to equip the vehicle authorized for their intended purposes, including vehicle rehabilitation, training, and inspections as needed for the Department of Public Utilities. Ordinance 811, 2024, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Clerk of Cleveland Municipal Court to enter into a contract without competitive bidding with Iron Mountain Incorporated for the lease of space for storage of records and the purchase of services related to the storage of records for a period of 1 year with 4 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance on behalf of the Clerk of Cleveland Municipal Court. Ordinance 821, 2024, as amended by Council Members Conwell, Hairston, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into agreement with the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Federation to co-sponsor the 2024 One World Day. Ordinance 823, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Human Resources to employ one or more consultants or one or more firms of consultants to provide professional services for pre-employment background screening and criminal checks for the Department of Human Resources for a 1-year period with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Human Resources. Ordinance 825, 2024, as amended by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to employ one or more professional consultants, computer software developers, or vendors to acquire licenses or develop and implement one or more risk management software systems and provide services to install, design, train, implement, test, maintain, support, and other related services for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 832, 2024 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into an amendment to a lease agreement with Mid-City Limited for the lease of office and meeting space for the Community Police Commission located at 3631 Perkins Avenue for an additional year. Ordinance 834, 2024 as amended by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance or Director of Public Works as appropriate on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to apply for and accept a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture, Forest Service for the Strategic Investments in Equitable Tree Canopy Growth and Preservation Grant to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for urban forestry services, to employ one or more professional consultants, and authorizing the appropriate director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Ordinance 857, 2024 as amended by Councilmembers McCormack and Santana, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a grant agreement with the Refugee Response DBA Resource Cleveland or its designee to provide economic development assistance to partially finance the building of the Roundstone Pavilion at the Ohio City Farm.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember McCormack that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. Are there any introductions? Any introductions? Seeing no introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Any announcements? Any announcements? All right, how you doing?
Hold on. We do have someone.
And then
you put it
go
on.
ahead,
Thank
Councilwoman
you.
Santana.
So we have Councilman Howard here from
Yes, from Warrensville Heights.
Warrensville. Yes. How could I forget that?
Good
We
to
are
see
always in
Councilman
MLC together. But thank you for being here today. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other introductions, any other announcements? Seeing no other announcements, no other introductions, are there any miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Seeing no other miscellaneous, Councilman Mike Polensek.
there's an eye doctor at times downstairs. So, Mr. Chairman and Madam Clerk, and to my colleagues and members of the administration, I just wanted to stand up and take the opportunity to thank the Division of Police, the command staff, Director Drummond, Chief Todd, again, the command staff, investigative units, and the work that they performed in trying and ultimately apprehending the individual that ran over Amir Pruitt, 7-year-old in my ward. I want to tell you that weighed heavily on me every day. I was in contact with CPD every day, and I knew he was on the run because I've been dealing with him since he was 15 years of age, that guy. I dealt with him for 17 years. 17 years I dealt with him on a whole host of issues in the community. So I knew what he was capable of doing, and I know that he would be a flight risk. So again, I want to just say to the command staff, starting with Commander Drummond, I want to thank you, and I also want to thank our U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott and his team who work with CPD because they were determined. They told me, Pete told me, again, folks within the investigative units of CPD told me they were determined to get this guy because they all have kids. They have grandkids. And when you just run over a child and grind them into the ground like they're nothing and just go on. But the other thing I needed to say, and I'm going to be very pointed on this, what upset me and has continued to upset me to this day is the people who live in that complex who knew who hit that kid, who hit that child, and wouldn't say nothing. Who wouldn't say nothing. Have we become that cold and callous as a society and individuals that you can kill a 7-year-old and not say nothing? Just like he's yesterday's garbage? When I stood next to that little one's casket at the church, that little white casket with him in there, thinking, what could he have become? What could he have changed in this world? His mother obviously cared enough about him to put him in a good school. And just to have his life snuffed out and to have people living in that complex who were indifferent, quite frankly, shocked me. Shocked me. Because again, I have grandkids that age. So the message is clear to all of us, those of us here and those of us that are watching on Channel 20. How many times have we heard people say within CPD, if you see something, say something. If we're going to make any changes in our neighborhoods, if we're going to level the playing field, then our citizens, we can ask and we can demand of public officials and law enforcement to do their job. But what about the citizenry? What's their responsibility? What's their role? That has just troubled me ever since that day, and I'm going to continue to talk about it in my neighborhood and stress to our citizens, you want Cleveland to be the best it can be, then by all means, the citizens have to stand up and be counted. We just can't depend on the police. We just cannot depend on the U.S. Marshal Service, other law enforcement. We got to do our part. There's no reason that guy got away and we waited so long. We had to wait so long to make an identification. But he's arrested. Mom wants justice. The neighborhood wants justice. And we're going to get it. So again, I want to thank those who were involved in the investigation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kevin Conwell.
Thank you very much. Michael, I want to thank you. You know, when men see things like that in the neighborhood, the man and the fathers, you know, I just pushed this Inside Outside Dad's program. You got to stand up, man. That little 7-year-old boy, and you see that, and I was trying to say, Michael, he could have became a doctor, dentist, lawyer, scientist. What about being a great father? He could have did all those kind of things. And that means a lot to me. And you see something like that, you got to say something, and they got to know that you're watching. And even, I know people don't like to do this vigilante stuff, but I would. I get in the middle of it, man, and have to bust him up. You got to do that. That's a man's job. That's the job of being a man. It's just being a man, and I don't apologize for that. Now, I want to say this. I'm going to switch gears real quick. I put in for these speed tables, and my residents are beating me up. They're beating me up. Speed tables are a good thing. I said I wanted one on Ashbury, 2 on East 123rd Street, 1 on Lakeview, and 1 on MLK. You know what they did? I wrote it down, and I have supporting evidence, Mr. Mayor. They put a speed table on 105 at Ashbury, few street, then you move up to 107th at Ashbury, put another speed table right there. So it's like this. And then on 108th at Ashbury, out of my 5, they put another one. You put 3 speed tables around the councilman's house. 3 speed tables. The residents calling me, beating me up about it. Councilman, do you care about us? Why are you putting all the speed tables around your house? I said, I didn't, man. I didn't do that. I put 1 on Ashbury, 2 on East 123rd Street, 1 on Lakeview, and the other one on MLK, and they have not put any speed tables there yet. You're making me look bad, like I don't even care about my residents. So I blamed it on you, Mayor Bibb, and administration. They'll see you if you come around the neighborhood, take pictures with you, and then beat me up. It makes me look bad. I called Kelly. She said, blame it on me, Councilman. I said, blame it on you when the media, they're going to come out and jump on me. They're going to jump on me. They're not going to look at the mayor. They're not going to look at anyone. They're going to jump on me, and it looks terrible over there with those speed tables. It looked bad. And then she said, well, Councilman, we'll try to put, I said, we'll do 118th Street and also then do the other streets so they won't blame it on me at the same time. I go down 123rd Street where there's been shootouts, no speed tables at all. Lakeview, no speed tables at all. The only speed tables in Ward 9 is around the councilman's house. That's crazy, man. And they close to each other. That's nuts. It's driving me nuts, and my phone is blowing up, and they're talking about me badly. You know, I mean, I wouldn't do that to anyone, man. That's terrible, and you got to help me out with it. You know, I talked with her. I don't know what's going on with the other council members, but when things don't happen right, they blame the council members for it. Because we're the closest to the residents. They blame us. As Council President mentioned earlier, you go in the store to get a loaf of bread, take you 2 to 3 hours to get out. We get blamed for those things, and that's very important. The guy just blamed us for the polls. We have oversight, but it's the administration that's over the polls. You guys do purchasing and procurement, and it's your job to go back to check the polls, not City Council. City Council real job is to write policy and bring home money for your streets and things like that. And when the mayor does his transmittal, he gives us his proposal, and we give you guys the money. It's not City Council is supposed to be doing that. We give you guys money to do that. Now, here's the other piece that I'm upset about.
Councilman's asked for extended time.
I did ask for extended time. On 120th and Ashbury, I'm walking my neighborhood, stopped by the gas station. A lady told me about this lady that was found in a dumpster Sunday morning. I used to receive phone calls when things like this. She was found in a dumpster dead. Nobody called the council member, but the residents had to tell me that it was going on. When Drummond reached out to me, when he was the commander of the, it was the 6th district at that time, Anthony Harris, did you remember? A male was thrown in a garbage can, beat up badly on 117th Street, the same kind of incident. Lady, used the restroom on the guy. I want to say something in an intelligent way. We went looking for this person before the police looked for them, Michael. manhood. We went looking for the person. We met with the commander on East 115th Street, and we found him because the mayor's administration told me what was going on. And they threatened to kill me at that time, but Anthony Harris, he wasn't a councilman at that time, said, "I'm with me." You remember that? Right over there. But we knew what was going on. You got to tell me sometime when I'm walking. It's embarrassing when a resident tell you. It could be the media coming up, putting the microphone in my face. "Councilman, did you know that one of your residents or someone was found dead in a dumpster?" And I don't know. You got to tell me. Well, of course, I blame it on you, your administration again, Mr. Mayor, because you guys, I'm used to that. I've been here since 2001, and I'm used to communication and the administration staying connected with the council member that's walking the streets, so I can say, yes, the mayor told me, or yes, the administration told me, and now we're looking. He remembered. Your safety director, Commander Drummond, remembered, and we found that person because the council member is the closest to the residents. You got to help me out, man. You got to help me out. I'm walking the streets, but you got to tell me, and I can't be left out there, let's say this, bowling alone by myself. That's all I'm saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember McCormack, that the absence of Councilmember House Jones is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Gray.
Council is adjourned to the next regular meeting on September the 16th, 2024. Thank you.